Good morning. How y'all doing today? um, I was trying to debate whether or not I wanted to do this video, but I was just like, I'm an empath, so it's kind of like I want to know. I mean, however you feel is the right way you should kind of feel because that's just how you feel, right? So, all right, so I'm gonna put it this way, right? Recently, I've been, kind of like reconnecting with an old friend, lady friend, and free will is gonna be this subject here. Free will, free will, and accountability, and letting go, right? So, oh, and the music that you hear in the background, that is if you go on, well, obviously YouTube, type in black screen healing frequencies, and it's like, it's playing the 9 Solfeggio frequencies, right? Now, I've been like reconnecting with an old friend, and we were in a relationship at one point, but like over the last, I would say, month or so, we've been spending more time with each other, and like, I used to tell myself, I would say like, the next woman I date, she would have to be a TI. Like, she'd have to be a TI because, TI women, they're different. I would say TI women are different because they're already on a heightened state of alert. They're already aware of, certain things, certain movements, certain people, certain tactics. They're not, they're not easy to manipulate because they're already like looking at you like, not to say paranoid or anything, but they're already aware. Like, they're aware of being tuned. They're aware of, people, gaslighting them. They're aware of all of that, right? So, this friend, I put her on, or when I say put her on, like, I informed her about what, I've been going through since, late 2020 going into 2021, because my like, I wasn't really, alerted or basically opened to realizing there were there were handlers over my body, my central nervous system, and things like that, and my memories and all that. That didn't really come to fruition until, like, I think it was like early October of 2020. And so we kind of like been hanging out, and I call myself trying to I don't know, like I still had very strong affectionate feelings for, then on top of that, we, okay, now I'm not gonna put all them details out there, but let's just say we see each other pretty often, and so at one point, we went out to go. We hung out one time, And then, she was telling me about this situation she was having with this guy, and, how much she felt like she, was in love with him. Even though some of the details of some of the things that they were going through, it felt like he sounds very, I don't know, young. Like he's younger than her, and I'm already older than her by like 3 or 4 years. So I was just like, if he's younger than her, then I'm just like, golly, I can only imagine. But then, like they say, age is nothing but a number. It's about the mentality, right? So, yeah, so they probably, they were, you know, they have this weird back and forth kind of thing where she feels like he's not necessarily what's the words I'm looking for? I'll just say mature with his emotions and things like that, but she feels like they do have some type of chemistry, right? And for me, I'm just like, okay, but you still find yourself hanging with me though. So I was just kind of like, all right, well, whatever that kind of chemistry is, it might not be the same as what we have. Now, me being a master of protecting my peace, I learned that one tool you need to learn about protecting your peace is learning how to let go of things that you can't control. You can't control people, and you can't control many things that are moving around you, but you can control how you react to people, and you can control what you do to or around people. That's what you can control. So, I told myself, well, even though we're hanging out, I know her like, it's like her mind is divided. Like she's still divided, right? And me, I don't change for nobody. I'm still the same person that I was, like 10, 15, 20 years ago. 30, well, no, I don't know, about 30 years ago. But like, yeah, I'm the same person, just ascended, ascended in consciousness, and it's like, so I guess I'll put it this way. So we've been hanging out, not necessarily exclusively per se, because she always kept saying how she possibly still have feelings for him and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, and I told myself, well, because I know this information, I know it should be appropriate in how I conduct myself to not allow myself to feel attached in any way or to feel too emotionally invested, right? So yesterday or the day before, she said that, she was gonna go and meet up with the guy. So I was like, okay. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I kind of knew, like, I already knew that's still a thing, so I was like, I'm not going to take it personal. I really shouldn't take it personal. I don't take it personal. But I'll show you what I did take personal. So basically, I had, I was like, all right, I'm thinking to myself, okay, closure or whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not going to take it personal. I've been there. and like I said, there's no exclusivity, whatever. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Then I kept having this song repeat in my head. I'm not even gonna sing the lyrics. I'm not even gonna sing the lyrics, but I kept having this song repeat in my head. So then when we met up last night, I kind of noticed a change in her vibrations. Like I noticed a change in her energy, right? And so I was like, I'm the type of person where, remember, I'm a master of protecting my peace. So another thing to being a master of protecting your peace is learning how to take all information, whether it's good or bad, and dealing with it at front, dealing with all information up front, whether it's, good information or bad information, you deal with it up front so then you can learn how to, maneuver or learn how to ascend over the emotional aspects of taking in information, and then you just maturely, graduate yourself from it. Like you acknowledge it, you feel it, and then you start working through the process of letting go of that, those emotions. Because now that you have been empowered with information, now you have the ability to conduct yourself in a way so that you're not necessarily holding yourself back or harboring over, something that's in the past. And that's the problem that a lot of people have is, like targeting or not, a lot of people have a problem with harboring over things that had already passed, right? So, she then tells me, like she tells me, I asked her about, so how was your meetup last night? Now, in my mind, I'm the type of person where I think about almost every single possible outcome that can ever play out in any situation at all times. Like literally, I think about every possible single outcome of anything that can ever happen at any given time or moment. Like right now, I literally just thought about how many ways I could possibly, like, I don't know, trip and stumble over my slippers on the floor, and I could hit my head in several different ways. That's just how I am, It's not like something that's supposed to like debilitate me or to make me fearful, but it's kind of like a way how I learn to deal with the abruptness of emotional traumas from things that may transpire in life. So, this is one of the tools, one of my strengths, especially when it comes to targeting, is because it's like, they work as a hive mind, right? And there's so many people involved. That's why I personally don't rely on going after people, because there's too many of them. You go after what, 2 or 3 people, they have about 1,000 people waiting to just still jump on you regardless. That's why I choose to go after the system itself, because it's the system that enables them to be able to do what they're doing. I don't choose to go after neighbors who I believe are a part of it, and trust me, I already know they're a part of it, but it's like I choose not to go after the people because, one, before I was aware that technically I wasn't supposed to be a target. I wasn't supposed to be a target. I was supposed to just go along with it and become a police officer. But yeah, I'm not a follower. Especially if somebody doesn't tell me why I'm doing this either. So I'm not following nobody. Anyway, so, but yeah, it's like, it's one of those things where you just like, you learn to basically accept that the very best of things can happen in life and the very worst of things can happen in life. But if you go ahead and process those thoughts in your mind, and you go ahead envision yourself dealing with the emotional impact of you dealing with every single situation. It seems overwhelming, but then when you realize it, it's not as overwhelming as you think, because the moment you go ahead and acceptance, the moment you go ahead and accept that these are the emotions that you can feel in every single possible situation, regardless of we're not even gonna like go into, you feeling the physicality of the event. We're talking about emotions, because remember, they're using the technology to basically tune our emotions, tuning our vibrational state, tuning our energy. That's basically what this technology is all about, is tuning your energy, tuning your emotional state, tuning, your ability to be able to progress in the world, so that you're not necessarily being productive, and then, and if you were to become so-called obedient, then they would either allow you. I don't know what it must feel like to be somebody that goes along with it, because they probably either allow you to just, be able to ascend yourself, or they probably synthetically raise your vibration. And that's the most terrible idea when I think about it. When I think about it like that, like, not to get too off subject, when I think about it like that, is imagine you no longer want to actually control your vibrations. You would rather someone actually being able to raise and lower your vibrations however they feel like. Hell no. I would never want to give no one that much power over myself. Never, 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 never. Why the hell would I ever want to give someone that much power over me? To the point where I'm so lazy, I don't want to control how I feel anymore. I would rather someone else control it for me. It's like that's worse than being a slave. That's like you're literally allowing someone to just it's just like what was his name? Brian, was it Brian Kaufman or Coffrin? I forgot. He has all these different TI videos on YouTube. And he talks about how this technology is basically like Sid Meier's Civilization and The Sims, right? I haven't really played Civilization, but I understand the concept of Civilization. It's kind of like, controlling countries and wars and imports and exports and stuff like that. And then, well, The Sims, everybody should know The Sims. The Sims, you basically play as like God, and you control how a person, progresses in a career, how they dress, the people they meet, the relationships they have, whether they, how much they read, how much they study, how you control their mood, by allowing them to do certain things, or you prevent them from doing certain things, whatever the case may be. So it's basically like that's how the handlers are playing everyone in this world. They're playing them like they're video games, but we're talking about people's lives. Anyway, so I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, just to get back to the story, so I'm like, how was your get together? And she's like, so in my mind, I already kind of went with the worst case scenario, and I was like, what, did you have sex with him? She was like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, because remember what I said, my mind had already been there already. When she told me that she was going to link up with him, my mind had already been there. But prior to that, remember, she said she already told me that she had feelings for this other guy. And also remember that, we never decided to make anything exclusive. So I have already psychologically won over this whole situation. because I have chosen to actually go ahead and accept things that I cannot control. I can't control her. So I already learned to accept the emotional things that can, come from what could happen in the future. This is why I tell my handlers, well, when you chose to mess with me, you already lost. Because I am a highly intuitive, highly intellectual, and emotionally intelligent person. So it's like, and plus I have a really, really, great, fascination in psychology, sociology. I mean, I'm no expert, but I love to, look into a lot of things and whatnot. So I was like, you already lost when it comes to me. Because the moment you think that you're gonna go ahead and tune, me into like a very low frequency, first thing I'm gonna do is just say, okay, let go. And then I will even allow myself a day where I would probably just go ahead and just not even try to resist as much. Why? Because you need a day of rest. You need a day where you're not trying to resist all the time. So there are going to be some days where I actually just don't resist at all. If I don't have to work that day or I don't have anything very important I have to do that day, I just go ahead and let them tune away. I just go ahead and let them tune away. So they'll sit up in wherever they're at, and then they'll be telling their audience, "See, look, he don't do nothing. Da 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 da. He's this and that. He's that." And I'm just thinking to myself, Lord, they have no idea that they lost already. And I'm dealing with like the people who are handling my digital copy. Because remember, we're all basically copied, and there's a digital copy of ourselves, on the this encrypted cloud server or on the internet or whatever. There's a digital copy of ourselves. So generally speaking, you know, all they're basically doing is tuning. They're basically making modifications or alterations to the digital copy, and that digital copy is transmitting the data from it to us, and then we feel what's happening to that digital copy. That remind me, I want to see if I could write Senator Ron Paul an email to see if he's aware of how we're all we all have a digital copy that someone is manipulating. Because Ron Paul and probably like a very, very small handful of American politicians are the only ones that's grilling like Dr. Fauci and all these other like big, pharmaceutical ass eating, tech company ass eating, military ass eating, all these people who's basically kissing ass to all these so-called quote unquote big powerful entities and companies and whatnot. But anyway, so and she felt kind of like, when she told me that, I'm not gonna lie, when she told me that she did, I felt the shock at first, and it was like a literally like it was like a literal like the energy itself. I felt the energy itself. The energy felt like a shock wave that went throughout my whole body. And like it was so powerful that it felt like I was hit with a directed energy. But you know what? Who knows? But anyway, cause like I mentioned before, at one point, like I said, she had told me some red flags, that let me know that, I already know that everybody's connected. It's whether or not you are aware that you're connected, right? So she already had told me some red flags, and I started to low key tell her about, well, you're probably being targeted because she always felt like men were gaslighting her, and especially when she would take the train and stuff. She always talked about how men would be like seeing certain things like around her person, but they wouldn't look directly at her. So I was just like, okay, so she's probably being gaslit. She's probably being targeted in some way, form, or fashion. Anyway, so yeah, she was just like, yeah, we did, and I was like, okay, and I was like, it's okay, because I expected that. And it's kind of, I know it's kind of bad to say that. It's like you expect the worst from people, but generally speaking, I expect anything from people in general. I expect the best from you, and I expect the worst from you. It's like there is no way for me to ever fully be, you know, surprised in a sense by a person, because I do my best to not necessarily what's the words I'm looking for? It's like I want to it's like I would love to just always think positive about people, but that's not how humanity works. So it's like I leave I leave room for anything. I leave room for anything. They're basically trying to disrupt the network. Cause this has been playing for like since I put it on at like I think it was like 12 a.m. or something like that. And now all of a sudden while I'm making this video it's buffering. I'm like, whatever. And there's nothing else, well, it shouldn't be nothing else playing this running on my Wi-Fi network. But as you've seen in previous videos, someone is sharing something, or either they're sharing my connection or they're sharing, I guess, data being collected from, my mother's desktop computer or my laptop or whatever the case. Someone got something called MyShare on my Wi-Fi network, and I found a company that has that's called MyShare, and they're a cloud-based storage company. I sent them an email weeks ago, but still haven't gotten a response. I should send another one just in case. Because if they're not responding, then I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get the Better Business Bureau involved to find out why they're not responding. Then also hold them accountable for not verifying if someone is actually, falsifying information to have basically put, information that's not theirs into their system anyway. So, jumping back to the story, and I told myself like when I became a target, I was just like, yo, I don't think I could deal with, and I don't think I could be with anybody who's not a target, because they're not gonna have the heightened sensibility. They're not gonna have that heightened alertness. And she's always kind of been going through things emotionally, and she's been dealing with a lot of things, and especially like her having a child, not at a young age but unexpected, and she had all these aspirations and whatnot, so she's still been battling that. And then at one point she kind of was just like, it felt like she was still, it felt like there was still something else that she didn't say. So me, I'm look, I'm spearheaded at this point in my life. Like, I don't hide from the things that can hurt me. I don't hide from wanting to know the soul burning questions, or soul burning answers, or tell me everything. Tell me everything. Most guys don't want to know the details. Me, I say tell me everything, because then that's the best way I would know how to conduct myself. So like I could tell, like she was really in her head about, I guess about telling me that she, you know, slept with the guy and whatever. And then I was like, well, I mean, I'm not, that upset, blah blah blah. Then I said something along the lines like, I'll probably feel a type of way if like, because I was like, I've been in this situation before. We're not necessarily exclusive or anything like that. And then I was like, well, but then I might feel a type of way at some point if you were to get pregnant by to do it. And she kind of like she did like one of those, and then I was like, because it was like when I said that part, I saw her face and I was like, I was like, no way, because I was like, you just had your period not too long ago. And then it just dawned on me. I was like, you let him go in you, didn't you? And then she was like, yeah. And I was like, that's when I felt. That's when I like it was kind of almost like I know I thought about it, but I felt like that would have been the one thing that kind of made me feel like, okay, I have to start. I have to start, kind of like, like I said, when you get certain information, there's roads, right? When you get certain information, right? You're going straight. Then when you get certain information, you know, optional roads pop up. And then depending on how you react to it, you're either gonna go left or right. So then you can either go left, middle, right, whatever. And then, based on how you react, right? Let's say after she told me, that she slept with the guy and I was cool with it, I decided to go right. So now that I went right, and then after she told me like, that yeah, um, they weren't wearing protection, so I was just like, now that's when I started to, instead of going right, I started to kind of, well, actually not even started, I just went straight down the middle. And going through the middle for me was just like, okay, um if she does get pregnant, then in my mind I'm like, okay, I already know that probably at that point I have to protect my peace, you know, because she already has one, father, well, one, child that's being fathered. I mean, and he's progressed. I've never met him, but I've seen him, especially when they're doing their co-parenting. And I mean, based on what I've been hearing so far, he's gotten a lot better, you know. But then I was like, nah, if there's gonna be a second one, oh no. I'm thinking to myself, like, I really gotta protect my peace on this now, because I was like, nah, because this could be a pattern, you know. So I'm just using spiritual discernment, and I guess what I'm really trying to really resort to is kind of like, I don't think I'm wrong for feeling like the way I feel, being, if she does end up getting pregnant, then I'm just kind of in myself like, I think it's best for me not to allow myself to be emotionally involved with her anymore, because I have to protect my peace, right? So, but anyway, yeah, so she said him and her, they're gonna work something out, probably get the morning after pill or whatever like that, and then me it's funny. So we went out to this one of my favorite, it was one of my old favorite bars, right? And we had a good time. I was trying to get her out of her head because she was like really like feeling kind of like down about the whole situation. She told me, she was like, she felt like she disappointed me. And as an empath and a Pisces, I have my very passive side, and then I have a very aggressive side. But for the most part, I'm always on that passive side. People always say, you need to find a balance. You need to find a balance. Most of the time, I'm always on the very passive side. So I was basically, kind of in my head like, well, I was trying to have a good time, because I was like, after the information that I just got tonight, I need look, I was like, I need some drinks and I need to have fun. So I was I was feeling myself, we were enjoying ourselves and whatnot. And then crazy thing was, this woman walks into the bar and I was just like, ooh. I'm thinking to myself, because I'm thinking about myself when I used to come to this bar. It was like in my early and mid 20s. So, I was like, man, if I was me back then, I was like, if I was me back then, what? But obviously I'm with somebody, so I'm like, I'm respectful with that. And then, knowing that we don't have any exclusivity or whatever, I was like, I was allowing myself to look. And then the more interesting thing was, like, it was almost like I think she peeped, or when I say peep, like she noticed me and I was noticing her, and I was just like, dang. So I felt myself like realizing I was like, options, because like I said, we didn't have any exclusivity, and the aggressive side of me, it was like, well, she did catch a hold, but anyway, so we had a good time last night. And then I think I said something this morning, and she was like, yeah, did you see that girl? She came in and she was like sitting all like close in our spot. And then I said something. I said something along the lines like, yeah, because I sometimes, I don't know, maybe sometimes I'd be too honest, but you know what? I would want someone to speak their mind with me too, because you know what? When you speak freely, you learn more about the person that you're with. So plus it helps you, I guess, in a sense. You get to know the person that you're with on a much, much deeper scale, because now you're getting to know the inner mechanics of how this person thinks. When a person speaks freely, you're learning the inner thoughts and the inner mechanics of a person. You don't need technology in order to learn how a person thinks. Just speak your mind, speak freely. People who need to use all this technology to peer into people's minds, they're the ones who basically are afraid of, they're the ones who are the most afraid. Honestly, they're the ones who are most afraid, because they for one, they don't want you to know that they're looking into your mind, right? So that's basically also admitting to the fact that they're afraid of you. And they're afraid of you. like anyone who basically needs to control a person, they're afraid of being hurt by that person they are trying to control. That's all what control of people really truly is the fear of being hurt by someone, or the fear that this person can judge them accurately. Because the people, the handlers who are, basically decoding every thought and memory that I have, they're mostly, affected and hurt by my sense of moral conduct. They are acting as if like anything that I ever say about people is just completely wrong. It's not that it's wrong. It's just that it's actually morally inept. Or is it inept? Or it's actually is it's in that realm of moral accountability. So it's like if someone was eating a meal, and then after they finish eating the meal, instead of them getting up and walking to the trash can that's about 20 feet away from them, they'll just take it and slide it under the bench. Take the trash and just slide it under the bench instead of getting up and walking over to the trash can. And if I see them do that, I'll say, them lazy, dirty bastards. They'll say, oh, he's talking about people. These are the type of people that we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who have no conviction for the things that they do. They have no moral conduct. They have no ethics. They're literally the problem with humanity. They're the problems of humanity. They are the people who make humanity so. They're the people that make living in large societies problematic, because they're the ones who are given tools to try to see if they can conduct how we all live. But yet, they're the ones who are the problem. They're the ones who can't accept accountability. They're the ones who can't actually accept the fact that they actually have to get punished for the things that they do in life. They're the ones who actually like to get away with doing fucked up shit to people. I'm sorry, I had to say that. I try not to curse so much in my videos, but it's the truth though. Because if you look at if you notice, and especially when you meet other TIs, especially if you speak to them on the phone or you get to speak to them face to face, and you really start to feel the energy from that person, you realize most TIs, if not all, like true TIs, are genuine people. They're genuine, they're good-hearted people. They have a sense of morality. They're ethical. And I'm getting chills when I say this, because when I tell you, anytime I get chills, that's how I know God is actually moving with me. They are people that God has a favor over. And, if you study the history of, Christianity, like true Christians, like the beginning of Christians, after Christ died, and how they were persecuted and basically hunted down, and they were like basically made as like entertainment to be killed in front of like the masses of people. This is basically what's happening to us. We are being persecuted for being righteous people. We're being persecuted for being morally inept people. We're being I just got another chill. We're basically being persecuted for doing the right thing. We're basically being persecuted for trying our best to do the right thing, because everyone else don't have that same conviction for doing the wrong thing. Some people like being savages. And then what they're basically saying to themselves is, well, we don't have to be physical savages anymore. Now we can just technologically be savage. We can be sophisticated savages. We can be, intelligent savages. And then it's like I heard this. I don't remember where I heard this from, but they said an educated fool is still a fool. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you went to college and you got a degree. If you still a fool, you still a fool. You can gain all the knowledge in the world and you will still be a fool. Because wisdom, if you don't use wisdom, or you don't learn how to conduct yourself in a certain way, it doesn't matter all the information that you take in. You're still going to make foolish decisions. You're still going to make, all these terrible, you're still going to have such a sucky outlook on life. You're still going to, be someone who is easily manipulated or driven by, worldly people and worldly things that will never give you any type of true fulfillment or spiritual fullness. And you know what? I wonder if she got to work okay. But anyway, yeah, they mad as hell because I'm speaking the truth. And you know what? The Lord said words will cut just as deep as any sword. And that's why they're attacking me so bad, because my words must have hurt some people, because like I said, I don't disrespect people. I really don't. I don't purposely disrespect people. I speak up on misconduct. I speak up on immorality, and then if I don't say nothing to you, then it's probably best that you don't hear what I'm saying. Because if it was meant for you to hear what I was saying, trust me, God would make it so that you heard me. But I guess in this sense, because these are the type of people who, they're like negative people who go out looking for negative energy, right? But just always remember, negative people who go out looking for negative energy is always met with negative energy. So no matter what they do or say to you or about you, always remember that same energy that they're producing, it circles the universe. It circles the universe, and then it comes right back. But while they're so focused looking at you and pointing at you, they have no idea there's a whole meteor, there's a whole asteroid coming right behind them. And the moment that you decide to step to the left or the right, that meteor, that asteroid of negative energy is going to crush them from behind, and they're not even going to be able to see it coming. Why? Because they're so busy looking and pointing at you, trying to make you feel bad for doing the right thing. Hey, that's why I move on. That's why I just move differently. I don't disrespect nobody out in these streets. I don't, because I mean, shit. I know good people in these streets. I know good people in these streets. People do things. Hey, that's not my place to really judge them. But I still respect them. I respect them as a human being. I get it. Some people feel like they're doing what they got to do to make some money. And I never judge. As long as you're not beating up on women, beating up or beating up or sexually assaulting women and children, or you're not beating up or sexually assaulting elderly people. Look, they just tried to heterodyne me just now. As long as you're not beating up and sexually assaulting women, children, or elderly people, I don't, or I'll even add this one, or stealing from people who probably don't even make much more money than you, because I never understood that point. Why would you steal from somebody who doesn't make that much more money than you? Anyway, because, it's like, right. It's like, why would you steal from somebody who doesn't really make much more money than you? Because there's a lot of other people out here that make a lot more money than some people, but yet they would rather go for somebody that make probably just as much money as they do. You know, I guess because it's easier. I don't know. You know, just like how, I done had money taken out of my account, several times when I only have one debit card for my one account, and then twice it happened where people had like, I guess made like hackers, they can basically, well, because I'm being remote nor monitored, they, have seen me, look at or type in my card number, expiration, and then the security code. So with that information alone, they could take that information, and if they have like a blank debit card, they could basically install that information, like code it, install that information onto a blank debit card, and then it'll work just like they had a second copy of your card. So but yeah, but free will. I wanted to make sure I touch on that before I go, because this is already like, I didn't even realize I was gonna be talking for almost an hour, but I felt like hopefully maybe this was some engaging content though. Now here's the other thing that kind of like gets me. So while I was going through the whole thing about, taking the information that she was telling me and whatnot, the handlers, they're all in my head. He has no idea about secret society. And then it occurs to me too that like, they'll send people and they'll set you up with people, and then they can actually code a program or a code, like a specific impulse or thought process and send that information into your mind to make you think that you are in love with someone. And then the odd thing is I notice women do this a lot of times too, where they feel like they think that they're in love with someone, but then they got this, it's like this small little, it's like a small little inkling within them that makes them really think to themselves like, I don't know why I'm with him, but I feel like I love him. And then when you learn about this technology, and it makes you really think to yourself like, well, do you know what love does? Do you know what like true healthy love does? Because if you know what true healthy love does, then you wouldn't necessarily have to rely so much on your feelings. Because remember, the handlers, they tune your feelings, they tune your emotions, they tune your energy, so that like it's basically like spell casting, it's like, imagine someone, casting a love spell on you, and you think you're in love with someone, but what if you're actually not, and someone is just tuning you to feel like you're in love with someone, and you instinctively have this feeling that you actually don't, and you should get away from this person, but for whatever reason, it's like something is repressing you from feeling your natural instinct to leave this person. So, free will. They're using this technology to take away your free will. And it's sad because it's like, I thought even Lucifer knew not to mess with human beings' free will. But at the same time, I'm like, God is also watching everything. God is seeing everything. And I'm like, people's free will is being tested, or their ability to control their free will is being tested. And I think that's the thing about TIs that makes us so much more special, is because our free will is being tested. The free will to go out on a shooting spree, because we don't know exactly who is a part of it, but we know it's a whole lot of people a part of it. The free will to basically, not commit suicide because, one thing you don't want to do is murder yourself. Like thou shalt not kill. You don't want to kill yourself. And then plus, God considers that like an abomination if you kill yourself. Like God can't forgive you if you kill yourself. And then like the other thing with free will is just like it's free will. They're taking away people's free will. And it's sad because it's like, Mayor Adams, New York City mayor, he has, I don't know if he knows about directed energy weapons. I don't know if he knows about, I don't know if he knows about these frequencies that's being used to manipulate people, because if he did, his first thing really wouldn't necessarily be to focus so much on the guns. It would mostly be to find out where the hell these transmitters and what's up with these digital twin cell towers out here, these unknown carrier cell towers, and how many people are affected by these things and whatnot. If he focused his attention on that, the whole gun part wouldn't necessarily, that part would probably diminish tremendously, because when you think about it, in a sense, people all over the city are probably being tuned to be more violent. People are being tuned to be more sexual. People are being tuned to, struggle with drug addiction and things like that. Like, when you really think about how powerful this technology is, it influences people to do things that they probably would not be doing. It has a heavy influence on people who probably already like struggle. Well, but then again, this stuff has been around for years, even decades for some. So it's like, when you think about it, like, imagine if this whole system was brought down, and then next thing you know, people felt this instant release of pressure from their minds, to a point where everyone slowly and gradually began to ascend their own like energies. And then next thing you know, what if there actually was a possibility to create world peace by destroying this technology, right? Imagine that. Imagine if we got to a point, maybe that's why the sun is like really trying to like, have all these like M-class solar flares, and like if we were if these elitists and these WEF, World Economic Forum, and all these other scientists weren't so busy spraying these particles in the air and whatnot, and we actually go ahead and just absorb and allow the sun to do what it's doing. Like, imagine if it knocked out all the power across the world, right? And it destroyed every piece of electronic equipment in the entire world. I mean, yeah, there's definitely going to be anarchy, but after all the people who are, are going to be the first ones to go insane, kill off each other, and those of us who basically learn about how to bunker down and defend our, defend our home and our turf and whatnot, we'll most likely be able to, as God said, inherit the earth. But I don't know, just wishful thinking, I guess. Anyway, I'm gonna end it here. Um, didn't expect to be on here for an hour, but all right. Yeah. So as always, leave a comment below if you watched this whole thing. But yeah. Remember, take life one breath, one thought, one step, one day at a time. Peace.